On the left-hand side, it's Zion. Will this season go down in history as, start to finish, the best freshman season we've seen in college basketball, maybe ever, certainly in the last 30-plus years? And on the right side of the bracket, can Virginia finally live up to its seed? If not, then what does it matter what they do in the regular season as long as Tony Bennett's the coach, if they keep getting 1 seeds and keep getting bounced before even the Elite Eight? To me, those are the two storylines.
Jenna, they always talk about the Blue Bloods. That's the teams that you know are always going to be there, but it's always about Cinderella. Where's she going to come from? I don't know, but she's going to show up. She's going to ruin something. Someone's going to be crying next week when Cinderella stole my Final Four. Yes, that's what I'm excited about, figuring out which team or two teams are going to be Cinderella this year.
Oregon's a good pick for you for that seat. Just letting you know.
To the NFL now, Ryan Tannehill was traded to the Titans yesterday, and to replace him, the Dolphins signed quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. See, what was your reaction to this move?
Like, what are they doing? Like, who's going to be the starter? They bring Fitzy Magic in to be the backup?
No.
Like, I mean, I thought the Dolphins was moving in the right direction, but my goodness, that was a perfect time to call Kaepernick. Call Cap, man. Fitzy? Man, stop, man. Stop.
Ryan Fitzpatrick has an uncanny ability in contract years to put together a month of football that's going to, I mean, he can make $8 to $14 million better than just about anyone in the world.
Listen.
Now, I don't know what Miami's plan is precisely. I don't think Miami really knows what their plan is. They paid Tannehill to go away, so they got a 4th-round pick for it.
Fitzy is not the Marion type, all right? He's the person you might go to on one date because he's paying. Make sure you get your own Uber on the way home. I can't marry him because he's not good.
Can Fitzy help them get Tua? Meaning, can he help them lose games? Because that's what this is about, right? Miami's just, they're already in it for Tua. They're already looking to 2020.
Man, I'm frustrated with the Dolphins. Like,
all right, let's move on.
It's not that difficult.
Let's talk Odell Beckham. He was traded to the Browns last week, pairing him with hotshot quarterback Baker Mayfield. Former LSU teammate Jarvis Landry. I like Baker. And that's not including a stacked backfield led by Nick Chubb. To say Baker is excited about his team's potential on offense would be like, I'm going to try this one a second time, saying Nick thinks highly of LeBron. Take a listen.
An exciting time in Cleveland. Absolutely. I mean, you know, the fans there, after having a decent year, nothing that we were too happy about, were unbelievably satisfied. But now I can't even imagine. I haven't been back yet, so it's going to be really exciting when we go back.
What about throwing to OBJ?
It's going to be exciting. You know, we got 2 LSU Tigers throwing 2, and then obviously we have a lot more talent too. So it's going to be a thing where you pick your poison.
All right, CC, when you look at this Browns offense now, how hard is it going to be to stop them? If you're a defense, how difficult is that challenge?
It's going to be very, very difficult because the one thing that we can say, and they won't get any notoriety, but their offensive line. They've kind of rebuilt it hodgepodge way, a couple guys homegrown, a couple guys off other teams that they helped develop, but their offensive line was really underrated last year. But I think it's the totality of all the talent that Dorsey and the front office there in Cleveland had. Most of that talent being under the age of 26. So I'm going to give people a look at Cleveland's roster. Some of what I believe to be their key players. We'll know their franchise player. We know Baker Mayfield. We know Jarvis Landry. We know Odell, but I don't think people understand offensively and defensively. And the reason why I put the defense up there is because I believe they're going to be a top 5 potentially defense, which if they create turnovers, if they get after the quarterback, they put you in 3rd and long situations.
Helps the defense.
Field position and possessions, extra possessions for that offense. And I just believe that the offense, because last year, Baker, when he took over the quarterback, they ran the ball better than when he was a backup and when Hugh was coaching. So I know they can run the ball effectively. I know their tight end Njoku is a tremendous threat down the field, got vertical, has a high upside as far as potential, but he can flat out run. They got a track team. Jarvis Landry can get it. Antonio Callaway, 22-year-old from Florida last year. He can flat out run. Odell Beckham, the fastest of them all. So I just believe how they're going to run the ball, and after 8 games, they're going to have a chance to get a starting all-pro running back when they get Kareem Hunt back. So how do they do it? They can run the ball. They can throw it up the middle to the tight end. Jarvis Landry can beat you by moving the sticks. I can also do play action. So, man, Freddie Kitchens and Baker Mayfield, to me, the pressure is on them. for them to keep all these egos, and there's only one football.
Right.
And you got to be able to share this football, and there's going to be times, because the best offenses I played on, there were a lot of times the ball went somewhere else, and I was wide open. And when you come back to the huddle, your overall attitude or buy-in to what they're doing, it becomes important. And with all these players being very, very young and trying to prove themselves in the NFL.
And they're going to have a 3-game losing streak, at least most likely. You know what I mean? They're going to have a rough patch of the season. How do they deal with it? Can we show that graphic Chris had again one more time? Because these are the Browns players 26 and under on both sides of the ball. If I made a graphic and I said the best players on the Browns, it would be almost identical. That's what's so frightening about them moving forward. Is aside from the guys they added this offseason, Olivier Vernon,
Sheldon Richardson. Yes, sir.
Aside from those two guys, all their best players are the kids. Like Odell is the elder statesman, which might put a little extra pressure on Freddie Kitchens because one of your leaders is one of your more flamboyant personalities. But Baker was so good the second half of last year. Baker was second in the league in yards per attempt once Hugh got fired. He was sixth in the league in passer rating once Hugh got fired. He was so good when his number 2 was Antonio Callaway and his number 3 was Rashad Higgins. When Baker says they're going to have to pick their poison, I think the poison they're going to pick is Jarvis. Like, Devin's going to say, all right, Jarvis, you're going to have to beat us. But Jarvis is a very good, he's overqualified for that role, even if he's a little underqualified to be the clear-cut number 1 receiver.
And this team only reminds me of a couple teams in NFL past as far as NFL history. The Dallas Cowboys, when they went 1-15, Troy Aikman was there, and then they added a bunch of young talent with some veterans, end up winning themselves a few Super Bowls. And the most recently, Seattle with Pete Carroll. When Russell Wilson on that first contract, all those guys under the age of 26 kind of growing up together and dominating that period where they end up going to a couple Super Bowls, Jenna.
And we're just throwing it like, oh, yeah, 8 games later, Kareem Hunt's going to come back. But he's going to be a big addition. How much is the run game going to help guys like Odell and Jarvis?
Cleveland, it's in Cleveland, all right? They're going to have some bad weather. And the ability, even though you do have all of these skilled guys, that I can run the football. And because it's not up there on the graphic, their offensive line, I believe, is underrated. When you have that, the reason why New England won the Super Bowl this year, people be like, oh, it's Belichick. Yeah, they decided to run the football. Out of a conventional NFL formation, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, we're going to smash mouth football, even in a perfect setting in Georgia in that dome. So you have to have that ability that, yeah, I can get into a shootout. And that's one of the biggest problems with the Rams when Todd Gurley got hurt and with Kansas City. Kansas City did not have that consistent running attack. So you bringing up the running attack, it's not sexy, but, man, it's dependable. In this new NFL, I don't care how much they throw it. Eventually, at some point, you need to be able to stop the run and be able to run the football.
And the addition of Odell Beckham, to use a cross-sport analogy, if you're a baseball team with a decent pitching staff and you sign a true, no-doubt ace, then all of a sudden every spot on your staff gets better because the guy who was your ace is now maybe a little overqualified to be a 2, and the guy who was your 2 is your 3. When you bring in Beckham, now Jarvis Landry is an overqualified number 2. Antonio Callaway is a scary 3rd option as receiver.
Yes.
Rashad Higgins probably shouldn't have been a starting receiver last year, but as a 4th guy, when you go 4 wide receivers,
and one of those guys get nicked, can he come in and start?
Absolutely, and not to mention Njoku, the tight end a year older. So
yes,
Beckham makes everybody better because everyone's job gets a little bit easier, not to mention Baker's. And on Kareem, he's also, listen, I understand he's suspended. The reason he's out is awful. But on a football perspective, when he comes back, he's going to be fresh. When other best running backs in the league they're around carry 205, 210, he's around carry 5. Carry 10. That absolutely matters for him and for the Browns.
And almost every one of those names you mentioned, Nick, they have something to prove in some form or fashion. I can go up and down the lineup. Chubb, man, why wasn't I a 1st-round pick? Man, I was better than Sony Michel
before.
Yeah, why I didn't get no respect last year, and I rushed the ball, the Browns rookie record. Why didn't I get? They went out and got Kareem Hunt for what? Baker Mayfield. People think it was a fluke. People think him and Freddie Kitchens are going to. Jarvis Landry's like, man, I got my homeboy, but now I'm not going to be able to get 100 balls like I used to. Odell Beckham, man, the Giants gave up on me. So all of them have a little chip on their shoulder and something to be able to